It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It is time for a brand new episode of INGRAMS Skin Sessions. You can see how excited I am to be delving into another thought-provoking campaign that encourages brave conversations which are more than just skin deep. And today we're unpacking the topic of it's okay to not be okay, because it's all right. It's human nature to feel the highs and, of course, the lows of everyday emotion. But what happens when the lows become prolonged?
Where it feels and seems like it's never going to end. Now, we know with the societal scrutiny facing us today, we're under pressure, so many of us, to be at the top of our game in all aspects of our lives, mental state included. So in addition to feeling depressed, you then feel guilty about being depressed. We're here to say that it's okay to not be okay. But how do you then know when to ask for help? When do you and should you be asking for help? We're joined by South Africa's funny man, Mpho Pops, as well as registered counsellor Shanaz Moose, as we delve into this topic further. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
You guys okay?
It's a bit early, but we're fine.
And it's okay if you're not okay.
Yeah, it really is okay to not be okay. And we've spoken about this, Shanaz, a couple of times. It's a difficult one for me to broach, and we've touched on subjects where there is this expectation from ourselves as men that we have to be okay, because I've got to do it. I can't just crumble into a heap and cry in a massive emotion on the floor because I've got to get up, I've got to go to work, I've got to be there for my family. Why is it so difficult for us to embrace these feelings, or not even embrace, just acknowledge that these feelings are there and that we are not okay?
Yeah, I think that, Graham, in childhood, if you think about it, the only feeling your parent wants is happiness. So all the other emotions are shamed, and you get, if you have a different emotion other than happy, there's a judgment that parents pass, or other adults. So you as a child then become conditioned to see the other emotions as bad, and only happy is good, which means even fake happy is better than actually saying the truth.
And kids will see through it.
Yeah, as a child, you have all the emotion, you show it. It's the adult shaping that says to you, like, don't cry, you should be grateful, or, those kinds of statements. Instead of, I see you upset, tell me what happened. Oh, it's okay to feel sad. Those are the statements that we needed when we were children to accept all emotions now. They get stuck. If you don't allow yourself to acknowledge the emotion, you get stuck in emotion.
Mpho, we know that mental health in the entertainment industry has really been put under the spotlight. People are coming out and really having these conversations. But for you, as someone who has joined the conversation and really, I suppose, led it in some way, when was the trigger? What was it about the experience you were going through that said, Mpho, step up, speak about this?
I think for me, it's when I realized how much shame we put to having mental issues.
Yeah.
None of us want to talk about it. And I find it weird how, like, if you try something new and you find out that your friend hasn't tried it, you're like, oh, I need to put you on, right? Whether it's a new food, drink, or a new spot. Oh, you haven't had this. Oh, let me put you on. We're always quick to do that with everything else other than mental health. We're not quick to put each other on to say, oh, you're going through this. Oh, let me put you on to therapy.
Speak to this person.
Therapy.
We don't speak about that.
We don't speak about it. We've been told not to speak about it, right? Because there's a shame attached to it. And I remember, going through it, it's something that I always tried to do alone. And I'm a very family-orientated person, right? I do everything with my family. I talk to my family about everything. But this particular thing, I would, shy away, and I'd try to deal with it on my own. I'd go to therapy on my own without telling anyone, because I was too embarrassed to say I go to therapy. I was too embarrassed to tell people what I'm going through. And then I got to a point where I was like, I'm actually doing myself a huge disjustice, and everyone who supports me and follows me. Because the moment I started having these conversations, the moment I started speaking about what I was going through, I got so many messages and DMs and people going, oh my word, I've been experiencing exactly this. I didn't realize it was this. We have influence, and we need to use that influence positively.
But we have to also sometimes just deal with these situations, and that's often the reality. And I think a lot of people watching these sessions will go, great, in a perfect world, I'd love to just be able to stop working and go and take 2 weeks off. But often we can't. But then you shoot yourself in the foot and then the whole thing collapses. When do we know we've reached that point where we have to ask for help?
I think, yes, I agree, Graham. Most people get to crisis point and then reach out because they're not really observing, or the lack of self-awareness says, I can't cope anymore. I don't want to get up in the morning. It's harder. The job that I used to love, I don't love. Or spending time with my family used to be fun, but now it's hard. There's like small little indicators along the way, almost like your petrol indicator, you're running on empty.
Oh, now you've just made the whole country.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shanaz.
So
Great analogy.
I put petrol in for the first time after 5 weeks, so I got a shock yesterday. So this little indicator light of your self-health, your wellness, it's actually going down, right? And if you're not taking it, because your tank tells you quarter, half, whatever. So when you are watching yourself, you're able to see, I don't enjoy this anymore. The food that I love, it's just like, ugh, you know? So it's about that one brave person, right? Because you said earlier on, I said, I'm weird. He said, okay, I'm also weird. Yes, because we...
No, I think that's kind of the tie that binds us.
I think the weird factor in this case is not afraid to be vulnerable.
Yes. Yes.
You know, not afraid to be who we are, despite everything that may be said against us or judged against us. And the average person who hasn't had mental health support doesn't know how to do this. So don't wait for a crisis or any kind.
Don't wait
Just
for it to
strengthen
fall,
your sense of self. Keep climbing, keep going.
It's true. It's hard to be vulnerable when you know that people will have opinions about it. And Mpho has done that. He's put himself out there, sharing your experience, Mpho, of your mental health struggles. How did you deal and navigate the minefield of social media commentators who have a reason and an excuse for why we shouldn't be putting ourselves out there in the way that you did?
I had to mentally prepare myself for that before I even pulled the trigger. People will always have something to say, whether you're going through something positive or something negative. And I think we all need to start learning not to take what people say about you on social media to heart. You know, trending on social media for 4 days is the equivalent of like a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what happens is people move on. You might be the trending thing now.
They don't actually care.
Because they actually don't care. 30 minutes later, something else has happened. There's obviously people who have said, who have challenged what I've said. There's people who've called me weak, you know, oh, you're weak, or you need to man up, or you need to do this. If you look at your comments, if you have 3 negative comments, I don't know why we gravitate to those 3 negative ones.
Fixate,
You fixate. But you're not looking at the 78 positive ones. Thank you for speaking about this. Thank you for this. So that's, for me, the only way I've navigated through that is by sticking to the positive. And I think when you get to that point and you realize I need to stick out my hand and ask for help, you also get to a point where you realize I also have to help other people that are going through this and might not know.
When the walls are crashing in, if you feel like you have reached that point now, what do you do? What do you say to yourself? What is the first step towards a new direction in your own life, do you think, Shanaz?
You'd be surprised how much people have and how low they feel versus the people who have very little, who find joy in small things. You don't need to be a surgeon to make a difference or to be, just that you add value. And we all have a value-add component just by being ourselves. So for me, that person, if someone reminds them that you add value, you are needed, and this is what will help anyone just start the shift and move up again. Not adding external things like a new car's nice, and it's got to do with that reminder to reconnect with that internal spark that we all have, and that'll get that person going.
Very important to also have that conversation with yourself when you are most feeling insignificant, because you are truly part of something way bigger. It's bigger than you, it's bigger than us. We need to remind ourselves. Shanaz, Mpho, thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. This has been beautiful.
Thank you for having us.
I love these conversations, and it's amazing how often I'll have a massive, deep breath after finishing them, because there's so much to process. But the take-home for me in this instant is, yes, it is okay not to be okay. Yes. But search out those connections and speak to someone. There are places you can go. There is the depression and anxiety helpline where you can phone an anonymous person and speak to them. You don't have to take that judgment on from even a person that you know. You just need to put your hand up and speak to someone.
That's it. But also, while you're at it, join this week's Brave conversation and stand the chance to win yourself that 1,000 Rand cash prize with INGRAMS. Simply reply to the competition post. You will find it on the Expresso Facebook and Twitter, as well as Instagram pages. Tell us how you cope with those times when you really are feeling less than okay. And tag someone who you rely on for support, you know, your pillar. Don't forget to include that hashtag. It's hashtag your skin, your brave. And this week's competition closes on Friday, 26th of August at midday. T's and C's on expressoshow.com. We love you guys.
We love you more.
No, too much.
Do you own your skin? Do you wear it bravely, even when others try to dim its glow? Does it represent your strength, your heritage, or does it express your brave and unconditional love? New look Ingrams, your skin, your brave.